Alright, so guys, welcome to the video. Today's video is going to be the best settings on Siege. So these are the best settings that I have found and that have worked for quite a few of my friends. And so this one's just going to be, I'll show some some of the stuff that happens in game a bit later. So I'll show you what it looks like and things. But straight up, general, make sure you've got pings and stuff on. Pretty much just copy the settings pretty much. I have the PC chat to all, drone pep, set that to automatic. So then pretty much when you throw a drone, it when you're in drone phase, pretty much it automatically kicks you out. And then you got the circle inside camera groups, so that pretty much activates when you activate the option. It navigates inside camera groups in the observatory tool. When watching the last camera of the group, navigating to the next one will bring back to the first one of this group. So pretty much what that means is, as sometimes you'll have vault cams, deployable cameras, stuff like that. You'll have multiple different camera categories. Instead of just going from just cycling within the same section, when you reach the end of the last camera within a category, it changes over to the next one. So turning this on will mean you don't switch to the next category. You will just stay within the same category, and you'll just keep looping within the same few pictures. Display game info. So this will be what I have at the bottom left. So FPS, millisecond response time, and then pretty much the version or something. Activating this option will have an impact on your experience of the game, as the game info may overlap with other game information. So sometimes you may have something pop up there or something like that, like a Wi-Fi symbol or something, just to indicate that you're lagging or something, but you should be able to tell. In the lobbies, you are capped at 60 FPS because what's the point in having 1,000 on just a start screen? So 60 FPS is the max. Obviously, it will dip and change dependent on stuff, but it will just go 59, 60, 59, 60 most likely. And you can't really change that. That's capped. Okay, matchmaking preferences. So this is for Hostage and as well as your normal games. Now, firstly, set it to just bomb. Just have bomb. Turn off security and hostage. Bomb is the only game mode that you have on ranked, so what's the point in preparing and setting up and learning other strats for other game modes if you can't apply it to ranked and sweaty situations? So you might as well just have it on that. I set my my terrorist hunt to elimination because why do you want to play extract hostage? All the other ones take forever, and if you're just going to be doing a quick warm up, especially when you're doing a stream or something and you just want to quickly try something new, like a new camo combo or a new gun loadout or something like that, or try a new operator, it's pretty simple. You could do that. You can do protect the hostage if you want to do defense, and then elimination is attack. For the maps, I just set it to house. It's the smallest map. Everyone knows it, so there's no issues with it. Turn off every other single one. Obviously, when a new map does come out, you are gonna have to turn it off. So make sure you remember that. But they don't release that many new maps anyway. Squad privacy, I have that set to open to friends, as I like having it open to friends, and then you have an invite only. Open to friends, it just means it's a lot easier, so you don't have to quickly go into settings and invite your friends if he accidentally leaves or if he wants an invite. You can just click on your profile and then press join. It's a lot easier when you're streaming and stuff. You don't have to go into your settings as well, so then people can't really see your friends. Now for audio. Spoken language, you can only have one, which is English. Menu and subtitles, obviously set it to English or whatever thingy. Subtitles, I mean, you can if you want to, but I mean, it's pretty obvious to know what they're saying. Dialogue volume, I'd recommend turning it off. I have it on. Dynamic range, this is obviously speaker setup. So you've got hi-fi, TV, and night mode. All dependent on different things. Voice chat volume, mute on unfocused. So that means when you tab out of the screen, you can still hear it, or you can't. So when I tab out, obviously I don't want the audio and I don't want the screen to just freeze, which I'll go into on a second display. So have mute on unfocus just to off, so then you can still hear it. So let's say you're playing the game, you can still hear people reinforcing if there's footsteps, stuff like that. Voice chat record mode, I have it pushed to talk because I don't like having an open mic so everyone can hear me. It's just that, and then that's the voice threshold and stuff I have it set to. Now going on to the display. Display, 1080p, that's kind of obvious. Borderless. Now, borderless, I'd highly recommend this. That means when you tab out, the game does not freeze. It's pretty much, it still counts as being open, but it's not. So I can still tab out right now, and yet my whole thingy will still move. Nothing's frozen. Whereas if you change it to full screen or windowed, it still is frozen. But with certain ones, you can't change the refresh rate to different things. Aspect ratio, highly recommend setting it to 3.2. Obviously, you can try different ones. Highly recommend 3.2. It may feel a bit strange when you first do it, but it won't be that bad. Trust me, it will improve. You'll get so much better. You can see so much more, as well as your FOV. Preset is set to 60. They do not change it. You have to change it yourself. Widescreen letterbox, 19:6 with black bars for more cinematic experience. I have it off. VSync, it pretty much syncs your monitor's refresh rate with your FPS. Highly recommend it. I would turn it on, but right now it's not really like what I feel like it would be perfect for it. I feel like it's not really as useful for what I have, as I don't have a high refresh rate monitor. It's not going to be as useful. If you're getting really high, let's say I've got a 240 Hz monitor, but I only have 100 FPS, turning this on will mean that you get exactly 120 Hz instead of getting over, and it just won't look as good. But if you turn VSync on, it will look better. If you have higher FPS than your Hertz, then I wouldn't really change it down. I mean, it's not going to make much of a difference. It's just if it's lower than your Hertz, then I change it. I average around 110 to 120 FPS when I'm playing, and my monitor that I'm buying eventually is 165, so I will turn it on. I will turn VSync on for that. So that's when something you'd do it. Alright, moving on to graphics. These are the graphics which I highly recommend for whatever graphics card you have. I haven't changed them. I've kept it from when I had a 960 to now a 1050, as I've currently upgraded my graphics card. And it's not stupidly high. It's decent. I use about half of my video memory, which is decent. As you can see, 1050. It was originally a 960. These are decent settings. Obviously, the lower you go, the better FPS you will get, but it doesn't really matter. Change it to custom, create your own design, create what you think's best for you. I'd keep anti-aliasing, render scaling, and TAA sharpness, them the same, as otherwise it can look a bit strange. And you do also have the auto detect as well as benchmark, so you can find out what's best for you. Moving on to controls. Obviously, sensitivity and everything is 100% personal preference. You can't, there's no God sense, because it's different for everyone. You may have a really high sense, you may have a really low sense, you may have a really lightweight mouse, you may have a really heavy mouse. High sense players tend to have a heavy mouse. Low sense players tend to have a light mouse, so they're able to move it a lot easier. Stuff like that. You don't want something to just be slipping around in your hand, moving really, really quickly if you have a really high sense, because then it will just be so much uncontrollable. But pretty much the same. Walk, make it hold, prone, toggle, crouch, toggle, sprint, toggle, lean, toggle, aim, hold. I really hate it when you're stuck aiming in. Drone deployment, set it as advanced, so when you throw a drone out, this is what a lot of pros do. They will bait someone, so they will throw a drone out on the floor, trick them into thinking that they're droning, then they will try and push you, but really you're not actually in your drone as you haven't activated it, so they will push you, although it's just, it's pretty much a dummy drone, a distraction, a decoy. They will come running towards you, and then you can kill them as they think you're droning, so it's pretty much just a distraction. So that's something. A drone, gadget deployment, set that to advanced so that when you are setting something up, if prep phase is maybe ended and they're maybe shooting at you or something, or they're about to spray through the wall or something as you're setting up, you can quickly end it without having to stop. As before, you weren't actually able to end it. As you can see, the action cannot be cancelled. So, I definitely recommend turning this to advanced, as if you may save your life at some point, because I know that will definitely happen. I tend to play on 20 and 20. It's just a standard one. I don't really understand the fact that when people have one higher than the other, it just feels a bit uneven and stuff like that. So just keep it at something decent. Obviously, experiment with different senses. When you find a good sense, stick to it. Obviously, you can experiment, go a few up, go a few down, maybe try something really high or try something really low. Just experiment. Accessibility. Obviously, this is all personal preference. All personal preference. You can convert text chat to voice, so you have TTS on your chat, you got chat assistants and hints, so they can tell you things, so whether you should, stuff like that. So, you can lean by using side buttons, you can, pixel peek is something that is a very tight angle that, you can't see much through it, stuff like that. It'll give you mini hints, stuff like that. Convert voice chat to text, so whenever someone says something, it will try and translate that into, a voice message or a text, and will put it in the chat. I would turn this on if you are a streamer and things, because then you don't hear them and it's in the chat, so anything that is rude will just get blocked out, because obviously, it doesn't want to detect it. That's also another thing that they use to detect toxic behavior, so just be careful when saying stuff in chat and try not to get rage mode or anything. Now for this, set it to custom and get creative. Create something that you like. You've got default, you've got light blue, you've got dark blue, you got turquoise, green, light green, yellow, light orange, orange, red, purple, white, and black. Experiment. Alright, it's all personal preference. You do not need anything. You know, it's not like you have to have a preset one, or you'll be better, or you'll be trash with a certain color. Nothing will happen. Obviously, having certain colors will be a lot more visual in certain different situations. So let's say you're in a dark area, and having a black one probably won't do the best. Having a white one will probably most fit you in certain situations. I like the color pink and purple, so I've got mine set as purple, as I feel like it would make the biggest, you know, I think it's more custom and, you know, personal. That's another thing. Charms and skins, they don't do anything, but it makes your gun a lot more personal. As well as one of the new updates on Siege is that they are now adding in 3D skins. So if you don't know what I mean by that, let's check this one out, as this one is a 3D. So they're adding in 3D sort of rendered and different designed guns. As you can tell, this is Pulse's gun. And it looks a lot different. As you can see, there's tubes, and it's got more texture and design. Obviously, the original one does not have these little wing-looking things on it. So they're adding in more designs and 3D objects and designs to it, so that it's a lot more custom now. It's not just a color on the gun, and it's now actually, you know, looking much nicer. Obviously, you know, you are gonna have to buy the new season to get these, but obviously you probably will release a lot more over the coming future. As you can see, this one isn't as, this is an example of just a plain one. It's just a textured gun instead of this one, which is a 3D one, which is very nice. So that's one of the new updates that they've adding into Siege, and they're trying to do a lot more. Alright, now I'm going to go into a game, and I'm going to show you what I mean by, you know, some of the stuff. So let's go into Training Grounds. Let's play Lone Wolf, and I'm going to show you what I meant by some of the settings, stuff like that. Okay, now for this demonstration, I'm going to be playing Ash. I just spawned in a random location. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to be showing you. Playing Terrorist Hunt also is a massive improvement. A lot of people ask me how to improve in Siege and get better ranks. Sweat, Terrorist Hunt. Obviously, and a lot of people don't like doing this, but I mean, if you want to get good, that's a sacrifice you may have to make, just spending an hour doing a terrorist hunt for no reason. There is a long reason for it. You know, there's quite a few reasons, just that you may not see the improvement over like 2 games. Play 20 games, and then you will see an improvement. Your headshot accuracy will improve, you'll feel a lot more warmed up, stuff like that. Obviously, don't do it every single day, but obviously, the more time you have, you know, the more you can do it, and the better you'll become. So, gadget deployment. As you can see, I'm going to throw my drone out, and I don't have to aim in. I throw my drone out. Let's say there's an enemy coming around here. I just threw my drone out. He's going to think I'm on it, and then I can shoot. Stuff like that. Obviously, you don't want to have toggle on, as it's a lot more harder to navigate, and also you can't, you know, it's a lot more, you know, if you panic and stuff, it's a lot more easier to, you know, control your aim and sensitivity. As, you know, you may panic and press it one too many times. Also, crouch toggle. You don't want to have to hold a key for hours or ages. If you're hiding in a corner, you don't want to have to toggle it or hold it. I set my lean to this so I can concentrate on other thingies while I'm moving around, so I can keep a leaning. Let's say someone's around the corner. I don't have to hold it. It's really uncomfortable to hold my side mouse buttons, so I've just kept it as toggle. Now, obviously, you're not going to have shooting as toggle, so just, you know, set everything else to how you think. Now, gadget deployment. You can't really do it with this, or I can. As you can see... Oh, wrong button. So, as you can see, I'm able to set this down. So, as you can see, I can set this down pretty easily. I can pick it up. I can set this down, and I can cancel. Stuff like that. My sensor's pretty high. I mean, it's not as high as you think, but I'm moving my mouse barely at all. And I mean, for 20 and 20, this is pretty high. Obviously, my DPI is pretty high, but just find what matches you, as, you know, everything's a lot custom. That's all I can really say for this video, is I've gone over most of the settings. Obviously, in-game stuff you're going to have to mess around with and decide yourself. This is what the graphics look like for my graphic settings. They're not too bad. They're pretty decent. I get pretty decent FPS on it. Obviously, you know, it varies. It will change. Your FPS won't be at a set limit. As you can see, it did drop down to 80 a second ago. Now it's at constant 120-ish. So, you know, just experiment. Obviously, the lower graphics you have, the higher FPS. The higher graphics, the lower FPS. So just keep that in mind. Your Wi-Fi, which is the MS, is milliseconds. It's like the millisecond connection, pretty much. That will change and be dependent on your Wi-Fi speeds as well as your connection to it. If your Wi-Fi keeps dropping out because you're too far away, maybe get a booster, get an Ethernet. I will be doing a video on how to improve your Wi-Fi and a few different solutions, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you all in the next